I hate Zillow. And if you're wondering why I'm smiling saying that, it's because I also love Zillow. Zillow is an amazing website. It is the most visited real estate website by far. There are roughly just under 200 million views every month, not thousand, but million views every month. And the reason most people visit it is because Zillow many, many years ago came up with something called a Zestimate. A Zestimate is you can pull up any property on Zillow, and whether it's on the market for sale, whether it's not, whether it's off market, or even if it's a rental, it gives you their estimate, what they think the value of the property is. And most people, because their home is one of their biggest assets, if not their biggest asset, they're curious about the value. And the thing is about Zillow, the website is great, gives a lot of information. There's so many things that are wrong about it. And I'm going to share with you some of those things. I'm going to share with you some of the things that are trending now and how we can predict things. It's pretty easy, actually. I'm going to give you some examples as well with a listing that we just put on the market a few days ago. So first of all, if you don't know what a Zestimate is, estimate, Zillow. Some people call it a Z estimate, but most people call it a Zestimate because that's what it's called. And basically Zillow has an algorithm and they figure out based on whatever their criteria is, how much a property is worth. Good, because it gives you an idea. But the thing I hate about Zillow, and I'm going to tell you what I'm hating even more about Zillow, but what I hate about Zillow is it's inconsistent. Sometimes it is dead on. It is correct. It is perfect. It's accurate. But many, many times it's wrong. And what does wrong mean? Wrong means we don't know. Sometimes it's way too high and sometimes it's way too low. Not that long ago, about a year or two ago, maybe even longer, Zillow started creating, they started a program where they would actually buy homes from people. So say you're selling your home, you think about selling your home and you're like, you know what, instead of going through a real estate agent, I'm sort of short on time. I'll sell it to Zillow. So back in the day, Zillow, which wasn't that long ago, Zillow would give you an offer on your property. They'd probably knock down a bunch of other fees after they give you the value, but they were using their Zestimate at one time to figure out these values. And because they did this, over time, they realized that their estimates were terrible. They had lost millions and millions of dollars. I think it was actually billions of dollars, and they shut that program down. Keep in mind, too, this was during the real estate when it was hot, not when it slowed down a bit, when it was really hot. They kept making mistakes and losing money. And this video is not about telling you like how great Zillow is or how bad Zillow is, because I love that Zillow is there, but I want to give you more knowledge as a consumer when you see the Zestimate to see what that actually means. I had a customer the other day and he asked me about his estimate of his property. He said, I think we should be good because we're at the Zestimate. It's good and it's bad, right? It's good when it's accurate, but it's bad when it's not. And in this case, I knew that it was a little bit, it was closer than it normally is. But before I get into you in more in depth about these listings and what the trends are changing with Zillow now, I wanted to share with you something from Zillow's information, and I'll share it on the screen so you can see it as well. I'm going to share with you some of the data that Zillow has about the Miami Fort Lauderdale market. So this is what they say on their website. First of all, if you go to this estimate, there's like a button that you can click and it'll take you to the information that I'm sharing with you. So it shows the top metro areas, or does it by states or national. So in Miami Fort Lauderdale market, they said their median error, is roughly 2.47%. But wait a second, what does that mean? So this is how they say this. So they said in Miami-Dade County and in Fort Lauderdale, they have roughly 37,300 homes with Zestimates on. Homes meaning condos, townhouses, or single family homes. And this is what they say. So on their Zestimate, if we were to rate their accuracy within 5% of the sales price, so let's make it easy. Let's make the math easy. So say it's $100,000 property. I wish those still existed, but say it's $100,000 property. They said if they were to say how accurate, say they said the property is 95,000, it sells for 100,000, or it sells for 90,000, and they said it was 95,000 within 5% of their range. They said for them to be within 5% of their range, 25% of the time they're wrong. Only 75% of the time are they accurate within 5%. So if we dive a little bit deeper, we go to 90%, not 5%. So a 10% error, that's a pretty big error. So say the property is 100,000 and they say it's worth 90, and it sells for 100, and they said it was 90. So within 10%, they said at that point, they're 91.76% accurate. So meaning they're roughly 9% off on being 10% accurate. So it's not that great. Still, if someone told me, how, if I can guess the price of their property, what it's going to sell for within 10%, and I said, I'll be right about 90% of the time, I don't know how great that is. Okay. So then this is the worst stat that I saw. So the next thing is within 20%. So say that Zillow says this $100,000 home is worth 80 and it sells for 100. So they're 20% off. That's a huge number. They said at that number, they're 97.95% accurate. So they're still going to be wrong, at least 2% of the time. 20%. That's a huge number. But so that's Zillow's information for this estimate. So when you see this estimate, make sure you keep in mind that that margin of error is there. And you may need to pause the video and to look at this chart a little bit more, because I know it gave you a lot of information and you can absorb it a little bit better. And maybe some of you guys are a lot quicker than me and you're like, what do you mean pause the video? I totally understand what you're saying. But for me, it took a little time to digest it. So if you need to do that, make sure to pause the video to do that. So going forward, Zillow's trends. What Zillow has started trending is they're doing things that I never saw them do before. I'll give you an example. So I'm going to share with you this property and share some of the video with you here, so you'll get an idea of this property, just to give you an idea of this place. This property is in Hallandale Beach. It's just on the outskirts of Miami-Dade County. And Hallandale Beach, this property is a penthouse. It's waterfront, direct ocean. It's a direct oceanfront view. It's updated, 22nd floor, tons of amenities, and it's only 800,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath property, and totally renovated. It's very spacious and has car parking, valet, and so many other things in a great area. So I'm trying to share with you how great this new listing is. But more than that, when we put it on the market for 800,000, Zillow said it was worth 587,000. This was 3 days ago. And so it said 800,000, 587,000 is what Zillow said it was worth. And I have proof. You could see it right there. And basically you see this $800,000 property. It says when the property was listed, and it shows that their Zestimate is 587,000. So what normally happens now, this is what's trending for Zillow. When a property is way off, for whatever reason, it's almost like Zillow has ego or something. So you see how it says it could be off. And in the past, Zillow would allow us to change facts on the thing to make the Zestimate more accurate. In this case, everything was pretty accurate. So I didn't need to change anything, even though I can't. I saw that it was accurate. So the data is correct. I spoke to my clients and I said, hey, just wanted to let you know, when someone looks at your property on Zillow, because that's where they usually find it, they're going to see that your property has a 587,000 estimate, and we're asking 800,000. And so they told me this, and this is why we priced it at 800,000. First of all, so let me go back a step. So this is on the 22nd floor, and I told you everything else about the property: direct ocean view and totally renovated, higher ceiling, 1.5 foot ceilings higher than the other units in the building. So in November, late November, our team sold. So that unit is 2221. We sold unit 821. So 14 floors lower. We sold that property. It wasn't renovated as much, and it didn't have a washer and dryer in the unit. So many things that were worse about that property than this property that I'm telling you about that's on Zillow. So that property, we actually sold it for $675,000, which was a great number for that property, but we sold it for $675,000. Zillow has that information. They know that this property we just put on the market is 14 floors higher. They've known that for 2 months, that that other property is higher, because whether the property was listed on the market or not, it still had a Zestimate. So I told my clients when they said, yeah, why is it 587? I said, don't worry. Zillow, what they do when they see a listing that's significantly higher than their Zestimate, they just arbitrarily just make up the Zestimate much higher. And so you could see with this new screenshot, I took it today, and they increased the price just under 200,000. So the other one was 587,000, and this is 780,000. We did nothing extra with the property. We didn't do anything. Zillow knew how the property looked a few days ago because the photos were there, still kept the price the same. And now all of a sudden, because Zillow doesn't want to be so far off, they increased their estimate. So the long and short of this video is, bottom line, the Zestimate that you see on Zillow, don't let it mean that much to you, because it could, if your property is worth significantly less on your Zestimate and you price it significantly higher, there's a good chance the Zestimate will catch up to it, or vice versa. If your property is way less than what you really think the Zestimate should be, the market value is way less than the Zestimate, and you price it at an appropriate market value price, there's a good chance the Zestimate will drop as well. So it doesn't really mean that much. And you saw with the data that Zillow has already, they're not that accurate with their estimates. So I still do love Zillow. Zillow is a great website. It has tons of information. It has information about the neighborhood. It gives you an estimate of the rental. That's probably a little bit more accurate than the prices of the properties. And bottom line is, I love Zillow. I hope it's going to be there forever. But if you have a Zestimate and you're going to sell your property, don't really count on that number. Because if you do, it may change to 200,000, or in this case, 200,000 of an $800,000 property is a big number. And just think of it the other way. So at 587, it increased roughly $200,000. That's almost 1/3 more. It increased the Zillow number. So sort of crazy. Hope my math was right, but thanks for watching. And if you like our videos, please do subscribe. All the best, guys. Love you.